Almost 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with an incurable terminal illness that numbered his days. Since then, he had been playing his favorite game over and over, and now, after 2 years, his time to die had finally come. But before that, he wanted to finish the game one last time. So, he started a new game and customized a character for himself. Choosing more than one genius trait came with a cost. His character would also have to inherit a negative trait. He chose two genius traits, and in return, his character would be terminally ill. Chen didn't regret it. He was terminally ill himself. So was his character. As soon as he was done with character creation, the next thing he knew, he was being pulled in. No warning, no loading screen, just sucked right into the damn game. And that's how he ended up inside. He opened his eyes in a luxurious bedroom. He was confused and wondered where he was. And when he had last felt this strange sense of deja vu, he walked around the room and looked into a mirror. Fear crept into his heart. What if he had become the worst possible character? In this game, his name was Nox. He didn't understand why that name appeared, only that the beginning felt like a crash landing. Here, his full name was Nox von Reinhofer, a member of the Inner Lunatic's third dark renowned family. This family had deep ties to the world's most dangerous criminal organization, Lunatic. He was the youngest of 5 siblings in the Reiner family. This bloodline had produced gifted children in both magic and swordsmanship for generations. Unfortunately, Nox was the only one born without talent. Our boy had come to resent the world for his lack of ability. In desperation, he made a forbidden pact with the devil, and thus became the most notorious villain in the Inner Lunatic story. Our hero was stunned to realize he had become Nox. He questioned whether this was just a dream. As this character, he was merely 14 years old. His elemental affinity was darkness. But when he opened his status window, he felt a flicker of happiness until he noticed that his stamina was only at level 2. He then looked at his negative traits: void revelation, terminally ill, curse of the weak, and frequent sickness, which included symptoms like cold hands and feet. He was shocked. This was the very character he had customized earlier. He shouted in frustration. He had been terminally ill in real life, and now in the game, he was dying again. This time, the character had only 1 year left to live. He couldn't remember why he had chosen that trait, but after thinking for a while, it came back to him. He had wanted to make a character like himself, a terminally ill one. He remembered sitting at his messy desk, dying with no one to lean on. At that moment, he had no idea that he would become the character he had created. Suddenly, a notification appeared. There was one unread mail in the mailbox, and it asked if he wanted to check it. He quickly opened the message. In the mail, someone addressed him by his real name, Chan, and also by his game name, Nox. He was shocked. Someone knew who he really was. Yu Chan, the name given to him by his parents whose whereabouts were unknown. He fell into deep thought. Whoever brought him here, they must know about the part of his past he could no longer remember. The message read, "You don't remember me, but I need to say this. It's been a long time. You did well over the last 2 years. You deserve to be here. Welcome back to the game." Our boy sat still staring at the screen, confused and curious about one line in particular. Welcome back. Our boy wonders if the messenger is trying to tell him that he is no longer in his old world, and that this place is now his new reality. The messenger responds, saying that while there is much about his identity he cannot reveal, he advises him to join the Eldane Academy. From there, he should build his strength and do his best to follow the main story as closely as possible. Once he does, the complete truth will naturally unveil itself to him. The boy is completely confused and finds himself needing time to sort through his thoughts. He remembers that he has been reborn as the final boss of the game, Inner Lunatic. But he is expected to follow the main storyline. And no matter how he interprets that, it always ends the same. He dies. He questions whether even if Inner Lunatic has become his new reality, it still doesn't mean he should give up on regaining his memories. He makes up his mind that no matter what it takes, he will stick to the main storyline and along the way, recover his lost memories. He wants to understand what he's doing in this world, and most importantly, survive. And if survival means becoming a true villain, then he is ready to take that path. Now that he reflects on it, not much has really changed from his old life. 2 years ago, he lost all of his memories, and he had been terminally ill. Every moment he lived pushed him one step closer to death, and he spent each day haunted by the fear of dying. The only difference now is the setting, the world he knows best. He asks the system for today's date, and the system replies, It's the 4th of February, 1812. Once he hears the date, he immediately understands that he doesn't have much time left. He wonders why not begin his 28th clear attempt now. As he reaches to open the door, an intense pain shoots through his wrist. When he checks the system, it informs him that one of his negative traits has been activated. Due to the effects of constant illness, he has developed wrist inflammation level 1. The system advises him to rest properly and allow himself time to heal. This makes him angry, he mutters to himself, questioning, what's wrong with his body? How can it be so fragile? While lost in his own condition, he bumps into a young female housemaid. She falls to the ground and immediately apologizes to the young master. He tries to recall her face. Her brown hair and light orange pupils seem familiar. He wonders if she is Rona. She begs for his forgiveness, insisting she has committed a grave offense by harming him. The only thing he remembers about her character is that she used to talk behind Knox's back. That's all he can recall. Still, he finds it hard to believe that such an innocent-looking girl would gossip about Knox. Even if Knox is a villain, he forgives her, but he warns her not to make the same mistake again. For a brief moment, he forgets the personality he's supposed to play and smiles at her, but it doesn't take long for him to realize he is supposed to be insane. He falls into silence, pondering the life he has chosen for himself. The maid timidly asks where her young master is planning to go so early. The young master replies that he's headed to the practice hall. All of the nearby servants are shocked upon hearing this. He then tells Rona to come along with him. Rona becomes excited, but at the same time worries whether her master intends to beat her. As they walk toward the practice hall, Knox reflects on his situation. After experiencing what it feels like to die, he now knows for certain he doesn't want to die again. If he wants to survive, he must adapt to this new world quickly. That doesn't mean he has no chance. As someone who has played the game 27 times, he already knows most of the hidden mechanics. He quickly glances at the status window to check the details of the game. Inner Lunatic. The system explains that Inner Lunatic features a storyline that pits angels against demons alongside the Empire, and it has a massive fandom worldwide. The unique aspect of the game lies in its vast number of customizations, allowing players to explore a wide range of playstyles. While lower-ranked traits, such as Ordinary and Talented, can be assigned multiple times, Genius traits are typically limited to only one per player. Our boy thinks to himself that Genius traits allow one to reach the peak of their field with ease, and yet, somehow, he possesses 2 of them. He knows that this game includes a concept called trait penalties, penalties that occur when a character is assigned traits beyond their limits. But by taking advantage of the system, which tries to analyze and compensate for these traits, it becomes possible to assign 2 genius traits. His assigned traits are Swordsmanship Genius and Combat Genius. These provide him with superior sword skills and allow him to reach the highest levels of sword mastery. On the other hand, he also has Mana Sensitivity Genius. This boosts his ability to detect magical energy and makes his spell casting more efficient. Now, Knox is aware there are plenty more traits that can be useful. He continues reading the system's details. As a perk of being the main character, he can view the status windows of other characters. He also has a trait called Master of Acting, which lets him perform convincingly in any scenario, a skill he knows will be crucial in his current situation. Another trait is Steel Mentality. When activated during combat, it allows the user to maintain mental strength and stay calm in high-pressure situations. However, the real issue lies in the negative traits. Among them, the terminally ill trait stands out as the worst. But it's not the only one he needs to worry about. He finds it almost amusing that he's practically a walking hospital. The system adds that for individuals with cold hands and feet, entering icy areas without a warming skill is nearly impossible. Additionally, the frequent sickness trait means he will faint from illness at least once every chapter. He sighs and tells himself that he has no choice, so he decides to face things one step at a time. Suddenly, Rona comes to a stop and informs him that they are nearly at the practice hall. She asks if he truly plans to go inside. The young master remains quiet for a moment, then opens the door. The system immediately informs him about a new obstacle, Curse of the Weak. It explains that this curse was placed on him at birth. As a result, his growth rate is reduced by 50%, and he has twice the vulnerability to enemy debuffs. The young master makes up his mind. Before anything else, he must find a way to remove the curse of the weak. While he practices inside the training hall, he keeps thinking that no matter how many times he goes over it in his head, he can only come to one conclusion. He's doomed. Just like reading the beginning of the story, that's the final thought he ends up with, after thinking it through. After reading all of it, he suddenly feels weak and collapses onto the floor. Now he knows his limit. He can't even swing a sword more than 10 times. He had no idea the curse of the weak would make things this hard for him. After resting for a while, he slowly gets back on his feet and starts looking around. He notices a large collection of weapons nearby. The system informs him that this is due to the origin of the Reinhardt family, and suggests that he start with the sword. It also explains that when it comes to the Reinhardt lineage, there are many sayings that describe them well, but the most fitting title is the High House of the Blade and Darkness. They earn that title because of their unique sword skills that involve channeling dark attribute magic into their blades to cut down enemies. And it's all thanks to the Commander's Blade, also known as the Tyrannical Blade of Darkness. That very blade has been passed down through generations, from one family head to the next, and the tradition continues even now. Our boy starts wondering what all of that has to do with him. Aside from swordsmanship, there are many benefits to being born into a noble household, and one of the most obvious is wealth. Knox understands the true value of money, and he's honestly thrilled to have it. The Reiner family stands as one of the greatest noble families in the entire story, and that also means they're filthy rich. Even as their useless youngest son, Knox still has enough wealth to live the rest of his life without ever working a single day. And it's highly likely that his father, Teao, doesn't care whether he spends that money wisely or not. It's also true that Knox isn't someone who fits the image of a wasteful noble heir. His character archetype is already clear, but he's made up his mind to use every bit of it, all of it, until Rona finishes what he asked her to prepare. Still, he's a little worried that she might turn down his strange request. A few minutes earlier, Rona had come to him carrying a wooden sword, a towel, and some water. She handed them over and asked if he was seriously planning on exercising. He asked her if anyone else was nearby and then told her to come closer to him. Nervously, she stepped back, wondering if he was about to hit her. He quickly calmed her down and told her to bring her ear closer. He had something he wanted to whisper. After he finished whispering, Rona looked stunned. She told him that every one of his ideas was complete garbage, but he simply told her to shut up and figure it out. She agreed, but warned him not to yell at her again. Then she ran out of the training hall, saying he hasn't changed at all. Now, in the stillness of the training hall, he wonders how fast Rona will be, but he's fairly sure it should arrive by tomorrow. He drinks the tea she brought him, and reflects on how he desperately needs a solution for this curse, and his stamina issue. He never imagined it would be this overwhelming. Suddenly, the head butler, Robel, walks into the training hall and greets him politely. For some reason, the sight of him takes our boy by surprise. The system immediately informs him that Robel is one of the main managers of the Reiner estate and isn't someone he can handle carelessly. He's also the advisor to Knox's father and the family head, Teo. Our boy understands that dealing with Robel might be difficult. He's aware that in most situations, his father wouldn't pay attention to him, but now he wonders whether Robel has sensed something off. He knows exactly how to approach this. Knox looks at Robel and asks why he's here when he should be attending to his father instead. Instantly, he activates his trait, Master of Acting. Robel responds, saying he's here on the family head's orders and has something to report. He informs our boy that he's been instructed to attend tonight's dinner. Our boy is confused. He hardly knows anything about this family, so it's strange. He looks at Rob and asks if he's joking. It's genuinely surprising that his father suddenly wants to have dinner with him. Knox flat out refuses the invitation. The manager pauses for a moment, clearly wondering why the family head would issue such an instruction. Rob will then explain that a guest from the Styliner family has arrived. She has come to receive night training, and if the young master doesn't attend the dinner, it will anger his father. That's when our boy understands. It's not a request, it's a direct order. Robel narrows his eyes and asks if something seems different about him today. Our boy hesitates and tries to read between the lines, wondering if Robel is hinting at anything. The butler clarifies that Knox never used to pick up a sword. Yet today he entered the training hall on his own. He calmly asks what led to this sudden change. Annoyed, our boy raises his voice and tells him not to ever dare overstep his bounds as a mere butler. Whatever he does, and for whatever reason, is none of Robel's business. He emphasizes that he's in full control of his own choices. Robel bows slightly and offers his apology. After that, the young master leaves the training hall, still thinking whether Robel had noticed anything suspicious. Meanwhile, the butler quietly decides to report the incident to the family head. Knox, not expecting such a tense encounter with the head butler, feels anxious. He wonders what consequences might follow and glances over his shoulder to check if Robel is still watching him. He tries to push away all the negative thoughts and begins thinking about the young lady from the Styliner family. What could her true purpose be in coming here? That night, inside the grand dining hall, his family members mock him as soon as he enters. One of them calls him an idiot and jokingly tells the others that he actually showed up, saying they won't be able to enjoy the meal now. They even taunt him, asking if he still has regrets about this family, especially the twin brothers, Hartz and Allen. They don't hold back. One of them says he never imagined Knox would show his face here again, and even now, he still can't believe it. They gossip openly about how he looked at one of the maids and call him a lost case. Our boy sits quietly and thinks to himself, he hasn't even done anything. Suddenly the door opens and his father enters casually, saying that it looks like everyone's here. Our boy turns his gaze toward him and thinks, there he is. That's the father of this character Knox and the head of the Reinhofer family. Alongside him walks a young and stunningly beautiful girl. She steps forward, introduces herself as Talia, and greets everyone with a composed smile. Teo then informs the family that Talia has requested night training and will be staying at their estate for a while. He tells everyone to feel free to welcome her warmly. The system instantly notifies Knox. She is the heroine of Inner Lunatic, the character destined to oppose the future version of Knox. She is the one who eventually will drive a sword straight through its chest. Teo notices that Knox decides to make an appearance too. Our boy becomes slightly uncomfortable at his father's remarks, and even Talia picks up on it. The family head tells everyone to begin eating. The twins continue taunting him from the opposite side of the table. One of them brings up to their father that they should make the decision now regarding who will be the next to enter Eldane Academy. Teo becomes curious about their decision and believes it's about time such a choice is made. The system informs him about Eldane Academy, stating that it is the most important location within Inner Lunatic. Within that academy, students face various situations and fight demons, this being the core storyline of Inner Lunatic. After understanding all of this, our boy also makes the decision to attend the academy. And while sticking to the overall structure of the story, he understands that he must now gather allies of his own. Their father announces that, as everyone likely knows, Eldon Academy only allows 3 individuals from each family to attend. This restriction is in place to limit the influence of nobles. Since he has already used the first 2 spots on his first and second sons, the Reiner family has only 1 remaining entrance ticket for the academy. Our boy is determined. Before he begins forming alliances, he knows he must do whatever it takes to obtain that final entrance ticket. Teo declares that this is why he has decided to follow their family traditions. Knox becomes excited and tells his father that it sounds like he's suggesting a battle between brothers. Their father is caught off guard, surprised that Knox is the first to react. Teo affirms the suggestion and mentions the date. It'll take place 1 month from now. He continues by stating that they will determine their next academy attendee through a duel held in the practice hall. One of the twins tells him to keep quiet before he humiliates himself. The other mocks him, saying that weak fools like him, who've never even wielded a sword, stand no chance against them. Surprisingly, our boy remains calm and composed. He tells them they can talk all they want. After they win, the twins grow furious and demand to know if he genuinely believes that someone like him can defeat them. Yet, our boy stays focused. To him, this duel is simply another trial that he must overcome in order to secure the entrance ticket. He has no intention of letting their taunts distract or discourage him. Knox confidently declares that he will be the one to attend Eldine Academy. Teo watches his son's interactions, a little confused by what he's seeing. Talia, on the other hand, is visibly impressed by the young master's confidence and starts showing interest in him. This catches the attention of the twins and sparks a bit of jealousy. Knox quickly realizes that he has drawn the attention of someone he probably shouldn't have. After dinner, Teo sits in his office reading through Robel's reports. He tells Rob that just as he had reported, it indeed appears that something about Knox has changed. Robwell agrees with this assessment. Tao reflects that, had he not witnessed today's events for himself, he wouldn't have believed them. He wonders what exactly has caused this sudden change. He even begins to suspect that Knox might have been possessed by a demon. Whatever the reason may be, Knox has caught his full attention. The family head comprehends the situation and instructs Robwell to monitor Knox closely. Early the next morning, the young master is already in the practice hall. The maids gossip about the upcoming duel in 1 month. They also wonder aloud why running is the only thing he ever seems to do. Knox tries to grasp what the maids are talking about, but quickly realizes he doesn't possess the intuition for reading between the lines. The system then notifies him that his stamina stat has increased by 0.1%. He is shocked by the minimal improvement. He chooses to run because his greatest weakness lies in his stamina. The system informs him that in order to unlock the use of swordsmanship and combat genius, his stamina stat must reach level 4. He notes that if someone weren't as weak as he currently is, they would be able to use it without any issue. He tires quickly due to the curse of the weak still being in effect. He discovers that it took him an entire month just to raise his stamina by 1.9 points. The system reminds him that the curse of the weak is a debilitating curse that cuts his growth rate in half. It becomes obvious why, despite running so much, he was only able to raise his stamina by 0.1%. Adding to that, his terminally ill trait also has his growth rate. He realizes that to keep up with others, he will need to exert 4 times the effort. He wonders to himself why everything is so difficult for him. The system then informs him that his stamina has reached 15 and his mana has hit 30. However, because of his terminally ill trait, 15 is the maximum stamina he can reach. He decides to put that worry aside for now. Rona arrives, bringing all the supplies he had requested the previous day. Our boy is impressed. She's faster than he expected. He feels glad, believing this will allow him to make some real progress. Now, the only question remaining in his mind is how to break past the limit and reach stamina level 4. He looks over all the supplies Rona brought. He feels confident that using his own knowledge he can resolve this. He mixes the ingredients together and pours the contents into a bottle. Rona, watching curiously, asks why he needs all of these items. The poison is difficult to handle. The ingredients are those most people avoid, and they are quite expensive. Knox tells her it's because most people don't understand how to use them properly. Rona is visibly surprised by this explanation. Knox then drinks the mixture he just created. Rona immediately becomes alarmed, knowing that it contains poison. The system notifies him that he has consumed the poison of the 3-headed gorgon, and as a result, his health will temporarily be increased by 1.5 times. At the same time, the system initiates a death counter. He has only 10 minutes left. Rona becomes frantic and wants to call the head butler, but Knox stops her. He then eats the core, something clearly not meant to be consumed, and Rona panics further, frightened by what she's witnessing. The system confirms that he has ingested the core of a golem, and warns that his body will now begin to slowly petrify. Suddenly, another notification appears. The system announces that a hidden piece has been activated. The poison of the 3-headed gorgon is reacting with the golem's core. Our boy feels satisfied knowing that everything is proceeding just as he planned. The system explains that normally the golem's core is used to petrify individuals, rapidly boost defensive stats, or construct artificial golems. However, when combined with the poison of the 3-headed gorgon, a special reaction occurs. The gorgon's poison becomes diluted. Then comes the most critical message. The curse of the weak has been lifted. Knox is overjoyed to see this change. Rona, however, is still frightened and thinks her young master might die at any moment. But Knox knows there is still one more step remaining. He begins to unbutton his shirt, an action that terrifies Rona even more. Rona feels both anxious and curious, eager to understand what he plans to do next. To her surprise, he takes the poison and pours it over his head. The system promptly notifies him that he has used the dew of the remembering fairy, and the petrification effects caused by the golem's core have now vanished. It also reports that the DE is currently reacting with the core of the golem. To our boy, the entire process feels like an unusual kind of healing. The system goes on to explain that a hidden piece has been activated and the user will temporarily receive the trait called Blessing of Growth. Everything unfolds just as Nox had planned. The system then displays the positive blessings he has just acquired. Now only one item remains for him to use: the Rapid Stamina Growth Scroll. He tears it apart without hesitation. The system confirms the action, stating that the scroll has been successfully used, and from now on his stamina growth rate will be doubled. Our boy thinks to himself that he has finally eliminated the curse. With the blessing of growth suppressing the debuffs caused by the terminally ill trait, and with the scroll in effect, he knows that his current growth rate should be twice that of most individuals. This means he should be able to raise his stamina stats significantly faster. Suddenly, he grabs Rona and kisses her. Shocked, Rona stares at him and questions internally whether the young master is truly all right. She yells at him, saying that when he suddenly began taking off his clothes, she thought something was seriously wrong with his head. Nox then orders her to bring him a towel. Still confused and overwhelmed, she stands there, curious to understand what is actually happening to her young master. Nox considers that since the curse has now been lifted, perhaps he should go easy on her. He tells her that he is fine. Rona asks him if he's absolutely sure he'll be okay, even if she doesn't call the head butler, and wonders aloud if he shouldn't be resting instead. He assures her that everything is fine now. Still puzzled, she asks once again what he intends to do next. Our boy calmly responds that he's just going to run. In the garden, our boy starts running, and Rona chases after him while carrying the towel in her hands. From her window, Talia watches the scene unfold, puzzled about why someone as weak as him would accept a match against his brothers. Her maid, Emma, gently reminds her not to stare so openly at the youngest son of Reinhofer, explaining that it's considered inappropriate. But Talia remains confused. He doesn't even carry a sword. He just runs around all the time. She recalls that even the other knights of Reinher have offered to train him, but he turned down all of their offers. She's convinced that in 1 month he'll be beaten, and that will be the end of it. Despite herself, she feels concerned about the young master. Unable to suppress her feelings, she tells Emma that she'll be right back and heads straight to Nox. Our boy is taken aback and wonders why she came looking for him. He bluntly asks what she wants from him. Talia, slightly offended by his cold attitude, wonders what's behind his behavior. Still, she tells herself he's simply too stunned by her beauty to respond properly. She then questions him, asking if he's really certain he can defeat his brothers. And is that the reason he accepted the match? Does he truly believe that just by running around like this, he has a chance? Rona silently agrees with Talia's doubts. Talia offers to help him, but only if he's willing to accept it. He rejects the offer outright and tells her to get lost, saying he has no interest. Furious, she asks if this is how he treats someone offering assistance. Rona advises him gently that if he talks like that, girls are bound to dislike him. Annoyed, Talia snaps that he can forget her offer and just do things his own way. Then Rona sighs, saying this just makes things unnecessarily complicated. Our boy proceeds to check Talia's information using the system. He reads her traits in detail. No matter how he analyzes them, he realizes that she possesses incredible talent. In Inner Lunatic, most grown men have a stamina stat of around 4, but hers is remarkably high. Although it may not yet compare to the 3 swordmasters on the continent, or the potential held by one of the 4 great mages, he sees that at the very least, she has the capability to reach such levels in the future. He concludes that she should be capable of killing several demons, especially with her fire attribute. He's also aware that the fire attribute magic Talia uses will eventually awaken into white flames, flames that are used to burn the demonized Nox in the future. He reflects on the consequences. If he manages to make Talia his ally now, the story of the future will be altered far too much. So he resolves to find a way to stick to the original storyline while avoiding death. Still, he wonders if it's even possible to get along with someone destined to kill him. 1 month later, inside the training hall, Nox's twin brothers admire Talia's sword skills and compliment her on how quickly she learns. Alan comments that this is exactly what he expects from a member of the Still Reiner family. Hearing her family name brings back memories of her sister, who is far stronger and more skilled than she is. Talia remembers the time her sword broke during a match. She questions whether she can truly become a knight. Her thoughts drift to the lessons ingrained in her. A knight must never be driven by greed, must live modestly, and must be ready to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Above all, a knight must master the sword and its form to become worthy of the title. Talia also wonders whether Nox can realistically defeat his brothers, who've trained for years just by doing cardio exercises. In her mind, it's not possible. The next day, a crowd gathers to watch the match. Our boy and his brother stand face to face. Their father, along with other elders and Talia, takes a seat on the balcony to witness the duel. Tiao turns to Rodwell and asks what he thinks the outcome of this duel will be. But before Rodwell can respond, the referee steps forward and formally announces that the duel to determine who will gain the right to enter Eldon Academy is now beginning. Both brothers stand tall, ready, swords in hand, prepared to fight. A few moments earlier, when Teo asks Rodwell about the possible outcome of the duel, Rodwell tells him that considering young Master Allen's past performances, he thinks it's a given that Allen will win. Teo agrees with him. The head butler then wonders if Teo is expecting something else. Because while he acknowledges that it's true young Master Knox has changed, he still doesn't believe Knox will win. To him, that would be outrageous and impossible. The head butler himself once walked the path of a knight beside the Patriarch. He knows the art of the blade can at times be ornate, but other times it's very simple. How long one is trained and how seriously they've pursued their craft determine their level. And there is only one way for someone to completely overturn the odds and make a person who is ahead of them on the path kneel before them. That is a wall that cannot be climbed. Overwhelming talent. He also wonders if young Master Knox was born with such a gift. Teo tells him that the possibility isn't zero. And at the very least, if Knox was born with Reinher blood, then there is a chance that the youngest son was born with the talent of a sword emperor. Suddenly, the system notifies him that his traits, swordsmanship, and combat genius are inactive. Our boy wonders why he's so unlucky when his luck stat is so high. Now he's confused. Could his luck stat actually be in the negatives? He knows that in the end, he wasn't able to reach a stamina stat of 4. The system then updates him regarding the activation of trait effects. He remembers that during his training, his stamina stat increased by 0.1. He feels slightly relieved knowing that his stamina is now 3.8. While he's running to improve his stamina, Rona asks if she really has to keep running with him. He smiles at her and says that it wouldn't be fun if she didn't, and who would take care of him if she didn't. Nox then returns her towel and tells her to rest for now. She stays quiet and looks at him with anger. Nukes gazes into her eyes and tells her that she just cursed him in her mind. She denies it. In truth, our boy is impressed by her stamina. He looks at her details in the system and confirms his suspicion. Her stamina is 4.5. He's surprised to see that a maid is stronger than the average man and wonders what's going on with the Reinher family. He feels somewhat happy knowing that her starting stamina stat is higher than his, even though he's been training his ass off for a month just to improve this one stat. Still, it's a little upsetting for him. Rona informs him that it's already evening, and since the duel is tomorrow, he should get some rest. Now, inside the training hall, both brothers stand facing each other. His brother taunts him, saying, "Why doesn't he just give up? Even if he is the shame of the family, he's still his younger brother, and Alan can't beat him up too hard now." Our boy responds that his brother doesn't look like someone who wants him to give up. Alan tells him that he's right, and to be honest, he wants to impress the daughter of the Still Reiner family, and he believes Knox will help him with that. Knox tells him he's not sure if that's a good choice. Our boy knows that Alan's stamina stat is 8. Alan then asks if he has a crush on her too. Our hero knows that he can't defeat Alan using ordinary methods. The referee announces that the duel for the admission ticket to Eldon Academy is about to begin. He also informs both brothers that they must accept whatever the result may be, and that objections will not be tolerated. Our boy feels a little nervous because he knows it's all over if he loses here. He needs to find his memories, and he still has to figure out who the person was that sent him the letter. He also knows that after the 1-year grace period, he will die. The referee asks them both if they are ready, then signals them to begin the fight. Alan is the first one to attack, and our boy defends himself so well that even he appreciates his own defensive skill. To Nox, this is the only consistent thing in the damned inner lunatic game. Both strike at each other with balance and skill. Our hero knows that if he loses here, he will have to give up everything. But if he wins, he can have it all. During the fight, the system informs him that his stamina stat has increased by 0.1%. Alan taunts Nox, suggesting maybe he hit his head too many times, and says perhaps he'll feel better once he hits him some more. Cecilia, who is watching the duel from the balcony, thinks to herself that worrying about how the youngest had changed was pointless. She simply wants the last child from this family to enter Eldon Academy to be her son, Alan. She dismisses Nox's skills as pathetic. Teo tells Rodwell that he was looking forward to seeing how Nox had changed, and now wonders, is this all he can do? The head butler asks if he should stop the duel. He explains that if they let it continue, young Master Nox will take a long time to recover. Teo replies that Alan and Hart's talents are good, but not that good, especially when compared to his first son, Garen. They lack the ability to put everything beneath their feet, to dominate their opponents. With the overwhelming power of the dark sword of domination, he wonders who that power will be passed down to. That thought saddens him, and he instructs the head butler to stop the duel. During the fight, the system once again informs Nox about a rise in his stamina stat. Suddenly, the system confirms that his traits swordsmanship and combat genius have been activated. Our boy is already exhausted, but he's happy to have regained his traits. Alan asks if he's lost his mind. Nox immediately activates his skill, the Hour of the Genius. Our boy remembers hearing somewhere that geniuses and the talented each have their own hours during the day. He's glad that this is the genius hour. To him, everything appears to slow down. Thanks to this skill that alters his perception, the world seems to move in slow motion. He understands that perceiving an enemy's movements as slower and him moving faster are two very different things. He knows it will be difficult to fully utilize this skill, but now that his traits, swordsmanship and combat genius, are active, it's over for his opponent. With a quick and powerful swing of his sword, Nox knocks Alan's weapon to the ground. That one move proves his unwavering determination to win. Alan's sword falls to the ground, and Nox appears victorious. The young master shouts that it's fun. Alan remains frozen in shock. The swordsman knows he still can't afford to lower his guard. Not yet. He's well aware that the duration of the skill is only 5 minutes, and he must finish this within that time frame no matter what. He tells his brother that he had been going easy on him until now, but says it's gotten boring and suggests they end this as quickly as possible. He then challenges him to come at him with everything all at once. Nox turns to his father and asks for permission to face both of his brothers simultaneously. Not only his father, but everyone observing the duel is taken aback by his confidence. Talia watches in confusion, wondering what he's doing right now. Their father notices a shift in his energy. It's clear his vigor has changed, and it feels like he's hiding something. Choosing to observe a little more, he allows the 2-on-1 spar to proceed. But just then, Cecilia yells out, demanding they stop. However, Teo steps in and orders them to begin. Alan picks up his sword again, heart seething with anger, growls about how dare this brat humiliate them in front of their father. He warns Nox to be ready. Both twins launch their assault together. At first, the young fighter focuses on defending himself, but soon he switches to offense. Alan quickly urges his twin to move closer to his left side, but Hearts, blinded by rage, refuses to listen. The system notifies the swordsman that thanks to the special effect of Hour of the Genius, the proficiency of the Dark family's low-grade swordsmanship has increased. He's pleased to hear it. Now he can even track their sword movements. With his incredible speed and relentless attacks, he lands a hit on Alan's shoulder. Talia is stunned by the sheer speed and wonders how on earth he managed to pull that off. Alan looks at him in disbelief, thinking that even the shame of the family could evolve this much. All those watching wear that same curious expression. Hart scolds his twin, telling him not to get distracted in the middle of a spar. Soon both brothers begin to tire, and then the young master unleashes his full power. He thinks to himself that even though this is just a spar, there's something significant at stake, and simply swinging the sword feels exciting. Before long, he sends both brothers crashing to the ground. At that exact moment, the system informs him that Hour of the Genius has ended. He's relieved that it wrapped up already. Facilia, fuming at her two sons, shouts furiously at them. Knox turns to the referee and asks whether the winner has been decided. The referee responds affirmatively and declares that the victor is young Master Knox. Everyone watching the duel rises to their feet, even their father. Knox expresses his gratitude for their appreciation and politely requests permission to take his leave. As he walks out of the training hall, Talia thinks to herself that she must speak with him immediately. After leaving, he feels extremely tired, and then notices blood on his hand. He quickly realizes that it must be because he pushed the skill a bit too long. He knows that Hour of the Genius carries a major flaw. If the time limit is exceeded, it triggers a debuffing effect called recoil. The system informs him that due to the recoil of the skill Hour of the Genius, his lifespan has been reduced by 2 days and 17 hours. He recognizes this as the worst kind of debuff. It permanently cuts his lifespan and also makes him more susceptible to illness. Though he's already terminally ill, he's glad that the recoil didn't activate in front of others. He worries that if anyone had witnessed it, his acceptance into the academy might have been revoked. Suddenly, Talia runs after him and asks if he got injured during the spar. He isn't thrilled to see her. He is not happy to see that she is found out, and he wonders why it had to be her, when so many others were present in the hall. He cannot let Tao discover his skill rebound. She quickly asks him how he managed to win a fight between siblings with that broken body of his. The young master wonders what she is planning, but she simply explains that she has misunderstood him. She clearly seems impressed by his performance. What she witnessed over the past month was that Knox never once wielded a sword on the first day, and all she saw was him swinging a wooden sword clumsily. The fact that someone like him could win proves he is talented. Now she wants to know how he awakened such talent, and how he trained it. But after seeing the duels end and watching him when he is alone, she is confused and wants to know what is truly happening and why he is in such a state. Many questions fill her mind, such as whether he overwhelmed his siblings with his genius and talent. There were also rumors that Knox was good for nothing. She also noticed that he simply worked hard to achieve victory no matter what. When she notices him coughing, she asks if he is all right and tries to support him, but he rejects her hand and tells her never to touch him. He acts that way because he has been obsessed with gaming for the past 2 years, making it difficult for him to get along with others. He also knows that she is a character who will kill him in the future. She apologizes and tells him she did not know he was that serious about the sword, and she had heard that his body was weak from birth. Now she understands why he was only doing stamina training. She tells him she is sorry for misunderstanding him, and that acting like a good-for-nothing was probably not his intention either. She also mentions that Emma told her people could make mistakes like that. The swordsman feels slightly confused and thinks about how to respond because she is so honest, just like he has seen in the game. Even though he knows she possesses the traits of a knight, he also thinks that as the daughter of a proud, reputable Duke family, it must be hard for her to admit when she is wrong. He tells her that if that is what she thinks of him, then please do not tell others about the bleeding. She agrees to keep it a secret. While looking at her, he thinks he probably does not need to worry about others finding out about this matter. He tells her to keep her promise and leave. She feels sad because Knox did not pay any attention to her. That night in T.L.'s office, he tells the head butler that it seems his guess was correct and asks what he thinks of Knox's talent. Rodwell replies that at first he could not understand why Knox allowed himself to be beaten up. But among the children around his age, and including all the other young masters, he believes Knox is the best. Teo agrees with him, but admits he still thinks Knox has talents he is hiding. He orders Rodwell to monitor all of his movements and do nothing but observe, no matter what he does. He also wonders if Knox has enough talent to inherit the supreme black sword. Teo tells him that he does not have much time left, and what Rodwell is doing is important. Rodwell assures him that he will do his best. Now it is late at night, and the system informs the young master that he has completed the tutorial quest and cleared his first fight. Knox knows this is a sword that becomes reality, But the game-like system is still present. The status window remains as well. The system tells him he will be given rewards, and that he has received free stat points. He knows it is a jackpot for him. However, he is not very happy because he ran for a whole month just to increase his stamina by 2, and they could have just given this to him earlier. He sits in his room looking at his status window. He points at his luck stat and increases it from 7 to 10 because it is not a stat that can be raised through hard work. In Inner Lunatic, luck is the most valuable stat. After completing the process, he decides to check its value right away. The system informs him that he has received the benefit of mass clear 27 times. He is surprised to know the benefit system is still here as well. It is a relief for him. He decides to do the gacha immediately, and a huge machine appears in front of him. He laughs, thinking that seeing this in person feels so alien. He recalls that when the luck stat is at its highest, the chance of an intermediate rank or above appearing was 95%. He looks at the different ranks, seeing 3 of them, with the advanced rank being gold, and the highest rank being rainbow. He wants to get gold or above. The machine starts its process, and a gold rank is delivered into his hands. It is a gold letter. The swordsman opens it, and the system congratulates him for obtaining an advanced trait, the Supreme Ruler's Awe. He cannot believe he actually got it. The system shows him the complete information of the skill. It is a super jackpot for him to think he would get a debuff skill, but he still has another reward. It is a one-time use skill confirmation voucher, and the system asks if he wants to use it now. He thinks that the skill he will obtain from this is already decided. It is one of the hidden pieces that can be obtained in the Reiner family, and in order to get it, he needs that skill. He knows Tao will soon gather all the siblings at the estate, and that is when he will use it. He wonders if it is almost time for him to return to the Reiner estate, since it has been a while since the graduation ceremony of Eldine Academy ended. Vaughn, the second son of the Reiner family, should be traveling around to train as a knight. He suddenly remembers that he needs to find the hidden piece and handle grain. There is no time to rest at all. The only fortunate thing is that he probably does not need to worry about Talia anymore. He is confident she is not the type of character to break her promise, and there is no reason for her to approach him either. In the morning, he reaches the training hall and finds Talia already there waiting for him. He had already thought about this last night. He asks her if they did not settle everything yesterday already, and what she wants from him. She wants to know how he became so strong so quickly. He asks her if she has been secretly watching him train for a month, and she begins walking away from there. She pleads with him for at least a spar, and insists that he could at least tell her how he trains. He remembers that Talia was a character who always wanted to be recognized by her sister. Turning back to her, he tells her that before asking him something like that, or thinking about how she should train, she should first consider the talent she possesses. The young swordsman has never comforted anyone before, and he wonders what else he should say to her. After a brief pause, he advises her not to compare herself to others. Then he leaves the training hall. She feels sad and is almost in tears because he just walked away. While walking outside the training hall, he wonders if she will come after him, or if she will stay where she is. He also thinks there is no need to let her witness him earning the hidden piece, when she might end up killing him. As he continues walking, he reaches the Reinhofer family barn and sees a large number of horses gathered there. He knows that this place is famed for raising the best horses on the continent. There, his father and twin brothers await him, and the head butler welcomes him. His father tells them that he is sure they all know why he has called them there. He tells them that from now on they will each choose the horse they will be with forever. The young master already knew this and had been waiting for this moment. He remembers reading that horses are considered the holiest animals both on the continent and within the Reinher family. If they have decided to become a mage or a knight, they choose a horse when they are young to have as a lifelong companion. He knows that Eldane Academy teaches horse riding, and that the later parts of the game include many large-scale wars. If the horse he has dies, he will have to raise a young horse again. Plus, transportation magic is extremely expensive. He is not happy that horses are such an important mode of transportation in this game. But now he decides to choose the best horse. Their father tells them that since Nox won the duel, he can choose first. Teo warns him that he will give him just one chance. As Knox walks towards the horses, his father wonders which one the youngest will choose. He notices that all the horses are quite cute and good ones. After observing them, he finds one horse that is a different color from the others. He points at the horse and tells his father that he will choose this one. Everyone goes quiet, and his father tells him that he will give him another chance. The young swordsman wonders why he is being given another chance and thinks it shows just how bad of a decision they think he is making. Actually, he is loading the target stat window. After some time, the system activates and provides him with all the details about his chosen horse. He notices that its rank is high, and most summoned creatures are divided into ranks. Depending on their growth, they can rise more than one rank. He knows this means the horse can at least become the highest rank, and on top of that, it is an obsidian. His system tells him it is the rarest kind among the many out there, and the name refers to the type of igneous rock. He thinks if the Patriarch knew this, he would have taken this horse himself. He also knows that right now it is not that tempting because of its negative trait. The system displays all of its negative traits, and he knows that from some perspectives it is an even more annoying trait than the terminally ill trait. He tells his father that he will not change his mind, and that he will go with this horse. He knows that, with his knowledge, he can save this horse. His father wonders why he would make such a choice, and thinks he might be projecting himself onto the horse. In the end, he thinks his son is just an emotional and weak person. Teo calls his choice a disappointment, and makes it clear to Knox that he hopes he will not regret this decision. After advising him, their father leaves. The twin brothers want to stop him, and the young master feels confused, thinking his decision really was disappointing. The head butler tells the twin brothers that he will watch over Knox and requests them to choose their horses. Rodwell comes to Knox and asks him to choose a name for the horse. He agrees with the idea and names him Carl. The young swordsman tells him that he will go with Carl. He used that name when clearing Inner Lunatic, and it is a meaningful name to him. He takes the horse to his bedroom because he cannot let others see what he is about to do. He notices that the horse's eyes look determined to live, just like he is struggling to live. He notices that Rona is present in his room, so he calls her name and warns her that if she does not answer right now, she will face consequences. She understands his warning and shouts that she is here. She asks him how he knew she was there. He orders her to look after his horse. She is surprised to see a horse on his bed because she is the one who has to clean it. He laughs and tells her that it is a sick horse and she has to do her best. She has no other option but to obey him. He knows this is a bit problematic, and what is about to happen next is going to be quite a shock. The real question was whether Rona would be able to deal with it. 3 days later, Carl dies and Rona cries for him. Her tears make the young master feel sorrowful. He knows that Rona puts a great deal of effort into taking care of Carl, and he feels slightly bad for her. He already knew that something like this would happen. He orders her to stop crying because she is distracting him. He reassures her and tells her not to worry because Carl will return to his side again. She stands there confused, wondering if something is wrong with his mind. He simply smiles and instructs her to get behind him now. He takes the scroll out from his jacket. Placing his hand on the scroll, he infuses it with his mana. Something magical begins to occur, and she becomes surprised to see that he can use mana immediately, warning him that this is illegal here. The first time he is unable to control his mana properly. So he tries again and warns her that if she keeps distracting him, Carl will die once again, and this time it would be her fault. He explains to her that he has become someone who has not yet awakened his trait of genius of mana detection. In this empire, using mana below the age of 15 is forbidden unless one is from the imperial family. Because of this, compared to other students who begin learning mana control later, the descendants of the imperial family are several times more proficient in magic. The only thing he can do right now is pour as much mana as he can into this scroll. At this moment, he begins to feel a faint energy emanating from his palms. He knows that this is mana. He finds it interesting because this scroll is a one-time use energy voucher, and this time, he cannot afford to make any mistakes. From now on, the magic he will be using is black magic. The system confirms that the skill book of the dead Necromocron has been obtained. The system also informs him that the target Carl can be revived as an undead. He remembers reading from the system that within Interlocatic, there are 2 types of beings possessing the trait of an undead. The first type are beings brought back to life through black magic or dark mana. And the second type are those revived without an ego reborn as stronger beings. He also knows that such beings would remain blindly loyal to their master almost to a fault. However, the problem is that there is only one family known to revive corpses as undead, and that is the Dark family, the Marvis family. While Reiner is also a Dark family, it is a Night family, whereas the Marvis family are black mages who control the undead. In that case, he wonders, shouldn't players who do not belong to the Marvis family be unable to use their skills at all? He knows the answer is no, because of the one-time use skill selection voucher he obtained. From it, he received the Necromacron, also known as the Book of the Dead. Rona becomes shocked when she sees dark blood begin to flow from the young master's mouth, but he wants to push it a little further. Suddenly, he notices that his mana is running out. At that moment, Carl comes back to life. The system confirms that he has activated the skill successfully. Carl is now stronger than before. The system informs him that his pet Carl has been revived as an undead. He feels delighted to have achieved this skill successfully. Now he looks at Carl's traits within the system. He is surprised to see that Carl is much more improved than before. However, Carl has some negative traits as well. He tells Carl that he will be his master from now on. Carl behaves in a way that shows he completely understands his master. Rona becomes emotional and hugs the young master tightly, telling him that she thought something bad had happened to him. Wondering how he can use mana so recklessly, she even scolds Carl, asking how he can also be so reckless. She shouts at Carl, telling him that she cared for him so much and orders him to spit out the carrot she fed him. Now the young master shifts his focus onto the hidden piece. A few days later, he goes out at night looking at the map and thinking that the road is not much different compared to the game. He searches for the second hidden piece of the Reiner family, determined that he must obtain this item. It is the key that would help a little in compensating for his terminally ill trait. He wonders if he is being too sensitive, but this is not a game anymore. This is reality. He reaches a point where he sees a notice board with a warning written on it, stating that this is Mia's forest, and if young children enter, they may get lost and die. So please do not enter no matter what. He thinks to himself that he does not want to die a second time. The system warns him that he has entered the missing child's forest, and that failure to clear this place will result in death. In reality, the missing child's forest lies within Reinholder's territory, a forest where entry is prohibited. Due to the darkness and thick fog, no matter how skilled a ranger or pathfinder is, they would still have trouble finding their way around here. He discovers that it is just like its name suggests, a place that causes everyone to get lost like a child. But he also knows there is a different meaning to it. Even if a fully grown adult kills a monster in this forest, they will not be able to obtain any artifacts. Additionally, the difficulty of the monsters increases if the intruder is an adult. He remembers that he died a few times here while trying to find the right way to clear it. That is why the difficulty rating of the missing child's forest is at least 2.5 stars, with 5 stars being the maximum. Since this is a game where the difficulty is the worst, he recalls how hard he tried to clear it without knowing what items would appear. Now that he thinks about it, this is the perfect place to find an item suited for his terminally ill trait. Lighting his torch, he begins searching the forest. He knows that the crucial key to clearing the missing child's forest is the direction of the smoke. To be precise, it is the opposite direction from where the smoke is heading. He shouts loudly, asking how long the person intends to keep hiding and suggesting that they reveal themselves now. Looking around, he finds no one there and wonders if the person is planning to hide until the very end. Right now in the palace, Talia is still thinking about him and cannot believe that her beauty had no effect on him. She is completely unable to understand this at all. Suddenly, her maid Emma requests her to please stop following young master around. Emma also tells her that if she keeps doing this, she herself will end up getting scolded. Talia calms her down and guarantees that she will make sure Emma does not get fired from the family. Emma explains to her that this is not what she means. Emma thinks that young Miss Talia is already talented enough for everyone to respect her as the next matriarch, and if only young Miss Chell was not around. She also wonders why Talia feels so inferior to her own sister and is being so impatient. Emma leaves her room hoping that Talia has probably given up and is sleeping now. However, when Emma checks her room, Talia is already gone. Emma wonders if she went to find young Master Nox. Quickly, Emma wakes everyone up in the palace. Talia actually manages to find Nox in the forest, which shocks him. He asks her what she is doing here. Suddenly, the young swordsman senses danger and tells her to get behind him. Both of them are startled to see a gray wolf approaching. He wonders if this forest is part of the gray wolf's territory. Talia realizes that she only has a dagger with her right now. The wolf begins circling around them and signals others to join him. Suddenly, the gray wolf charges at them. She feels terrified, but he remains confident. Staring at the charging wolf, he steps forward and with a single swing of his sword kills it instantly. She is deeply impressed and thinks that, although it was only one wolf, he managed to defeat it so cleanly. Nox looks at her calmly and says that he will ask her again what she is doing here because he thought his brothers would be the ones to follow him. She simply smiles, and when she notices a night stroll in his hands, she wonders why he has it. He demands her answer and threatens to leave her alone here if she does not respond. Walking towards him, she grabs his hand and tells him that she is not doing anything strange. Actually, it is just that he suddenly became so strong, and she thought about wanting to become strong like him. She explains that she looked out the window and saw him there, and she was curious about where he was going. As expected, she believed he had some kind of special training method. She tells him this is why she followed him, and upon seeing this forest, she jumped into it without thinking. Nox becomes certain of three things now. First, she thinks extremely highly of him. Second, she is not hostile towards him, which is a relief. And lastly, she is just a kid who does not understand how dangerous it is to follow others late at night. The young swordsman smiles at her and thinks that since she is one of the core characters, he cannot just leave her here. He tells her to follow him for now. However, he makes it clear that he is not trying to help her, but is simply resolving this situation so that his family does not end up in a bad spot. She accepts her mistake and apologizes for it. He hopes that she probably will not do anything dangerous again. She thanks him for saving her life, and just as she is about to say something, they notice a large number of wolves staring at them. The young master orders her to get away from him and hands the burning torch over to her. He instructs her that she should be on her way home. As he swings his sword at the wolves, he considers that there are some unexpected variables he needs to focus on again. He knows this place exists before the scenario begins, and since it is an area within the prologue, there will not be any boss monsters. However, an elite monster, one rank below a boss, will appear here, and it will be an evolved form of the Grey Wolf he just cut down, the elite Grey Wolf. But simply knowing who his enemy is does not mean things will go smoothly for him. He slashes at the wolves and starts killing them. The wolves continue their attacks against him, and he continues cutting them down. He recalls the words he always repeated in times like this back when he was Chan and played inner lunatic. Was he really the weakling? Talia watches him killing countless wolves and wonders if he has yet to reveal his full strength since his sword technique had looked even more amazing when he fought his brothers. She also questions whether he has killed gray wolves before. Meanwhile, Nox considers that she is still very weak. A very large gray wolf appears before him, and he recognizes it immediately as the elite gray wolf. Soon, many people from the palace head into the forest to search for them. They find their footprints near the forest, and it becomes clear to them that Nox and Talia have entered. Emma is among the search party and urges them to go in immediately. However, Rodwell rejects her idea and calls it foolish. Emma demands to know why he does not want to go in. Rodwell explains to her that it is a forest not even Reiner has managed to clear. The system shows that the missing child's forest is ranked as one of the highest within the Reinher family territories. And while the Reinher family is known to be the strongest dark family in the south, the fact that there is still a forest they are unable to clear is basically like saying they are incompetent. Furthermore, the reality that only children who have not become adults can enter the forest and that the forest can only be cleared successfully by children has not been made known to them yet. The head butler wonders why the young master entered the forest. He does not think the boy was bewitched by a mind-controlling monster. Observing the tracks, he notices that Nox definitely moved with care. There are also no traces of anyone getting past the strongest mana barrier of this estate, which means the young master entered the forest intentionally. He admits to himself that he was wrong and can no longer deny that Nox is not the same weak and frail young master as before. Rodwell informs Emma that there is only one way for the two of them to return. The young master has to use his wisdom and find a way out of the forest. Emma becomes emotional, tears filling her eyes as she blames herself for causing her young miss to die. On the other side, the young swordsman continues killing the wolves. He notices Talia pulling out her knife, and he thinks she has not lost her focus despite being scared. He advises her not to attack unnecessarily since she might get hurt and tells her to just stay out of this. He also instructs her to save her strength and use it to run away if she gets attacked, as only then can she slightly increase her chances of survival. He knows that killing an elite wolf is not particularly dangerous since it is only rated at 2.5 stars. He simply wants Talia to remain vigilant and able to react to her surroundings. Looking at her, he observes that she has learned well, even though she is not yet at the level where he can trust her to cover his back. He quickly activates Hour of the Genius. He intends to use this skill to kill it in a single strike. As the elite Grey Wolf leaps at him, he manages to slay it instantly. He then notices that the other wolves have stopped, but suddenly they start attacking him one by one again, and he continues cutting them down. This time, the wolves are so ferocious and aggressive that Talia becomes worried for his safety. She thinks that even though Nox did tell her to run away, if it became dangerous, she cannot bring herself to do that now. So, she climbs up a tree. Finally, he asks her if she plans on helping him. Talia asks if he is injured. He knows it's pointless to call her for help, so he assures her that he's fine. Yet, he understands this is not the time to be careless. She feels relieved that Nox isn't hurt. He grows uneasy, realizing he just showed her his pathetic side, and the recoil from his skill has already arrived. He knows it's not over yet. He notices the elite wolf finally rising to its feet. At first, the elite wolf circles him, observing his every move. Then, all of a sudden, it charges at Nox at full speed. But the elite wolf employs a strange technique. First, it runs away, then abruptly reappears, leaping onto him and injuring his shoulder before retreating again. The second time, it repeats its attack in exactly the same manner. The young master thinks it's supposed to be a 2.5-star monster, but the elite wolf is far more intelligent than he expected. He realizes he needs to revise his approach. He also notices that this elite gray wolf is smarter and more cunning than in the game. He knows it is hiding now, watching him, waiting for another chance to strike. The last two attacks took him completely by surprise. He regrets not recognizing its intelligence earlier when it was commanding the other wolves. And to think it would even exploit the terrain and geographical advantages. He knows he needs to raise his guard first. Suddenly, the elite wolf attacks again, and this time Nox lands a hit. But it has no effect. It seems like the wolf had been waiting for him to attempt a large swing and reveal an opening. The elite counters immediately, and the swordsman fails to predict it. He wonders if he got too excited just because he has cleared this game multiple times. He knows that was a foolish judgment. Then out of nowhere, Talia's dagger pierces its eye. He thinks that if the elite wolf can create openings, then so can they. The person who created that unexpected variable was Talia. Seizing the opportunity, he slays the elite gray wolf with a single swing of his sword. Talia notices two other wolves observing their battle, and when Nox manages to kill the elite, they retreat. Watching this, she descends from the tree and runs toward him. She wants to know if he is all right. He tells her he survived only because of her, and thanks her for it. After expressing his gratitude, he wonders if he just thanked the enemy who will kill him in the future. But for now, it's not his concern. She asks if he got injured just now, having noticed some large wounds on his shoulder. He replies that it's only a slight wound, and there is nothing to worry about. She feels relieved that he isn't hurt elsewhere. Suddenly, a tiny spider jumps onto her shoulder, and she screams that it's another monster. She quickly leaps into his arms and clings to him tightly. She tells him there is a spider and clings to him tightly. The young master wonders how long she intends to hang on to him. He is also curious whether she is truly afraid of the spider or if she simply wants to hug him. He casually flicks the spider away and questions her, asking if something like a spider scares her. Then why on earth did she follow him into the forest? She asks if he isn't scared of spiders. The swordsman responds that, with fear like that, she definitely won't be able to become a knight. Upon hearing this, she becomes angry and steps back from him. He smiles, thinking that finally she let go of him. He knows he survived only because of her, but he feels hesitant to say this since she might suddenly scream. Now they just need to get out of the forest. It is morning now, and the search party is still waiting outside the forest. Emma is worried, wondering whether they survived or not. She feels anxious, thinking that Miss Talia's disappearance could create problems between both families. Rodwell reflects that since many children in this area go missing within the missing child forest, there are people who secretly claim that the Reiner family is incompetent. Suddenly, Emma points towards the forest and informs the others that the fog of the forest is beginning to lift. Now they see that the missing child forest has been cleared. She does not know for sure, but that is what she thinks it is. The fact that the miasma is being lifted. Rodwell confirms her observation and tells her she is right. He explains that it means the forest has been cleared, and the only possibility they were thinking of has turned into reality. Now all of them enter the forest, and Emma tells the others that it means their young master did it. Suddenly they notice the young master and Talia coming out of the forest. One servant remarks that to think he could really clear the forest is hard to believe, and that he is coming out as if nothing happened. Rodwell thinks he can't help but smile. Now he is certain that the hierarchy of the descendants within the Reiner family is about to experience great turmoil. Knox looks at the search party and wonders why everyone is gathered here. Emma runs towards Talia and hugs her, telling her they were so worried about her. Rodwell informs the young master that the family was worried about his disappearance as well. Knox finds it hard to believe that the family would worry over a good-for-nothing like him, thinking it is only because their dark family's reputation is at stake. Emma wants to remind Talia about the 7 rules of the Still Reiner family again, and urges her to follow her. Talia apologizes once more, repeating that she is sorry. Emma laughs and tells her that, as a lowly maid, how could she dare blame Talia for it, adding that the Patriarch will be teaching her the rules personally. Knox thinks that it looks like this maid has extraordinary stamina too. When he checks her status, he sees her stamina is 4.5. Emma approaches the swordsman and thanks him for protecting their young miss. Talia thinks that she did not even have the intention of going with him. He tells her that she pulled her own weight and advises her not to beat herself up too much. After that, they all return to the palace. The young master goes to his bedroom, thinking that it is over for now. He reflects that Rodwell waiting outside the forest with the knights was totally unexpected. He wonders if it was because of Talia, but even so, he obtained the hidden piece. The system confirms that he has obtained a new artifact. It is an accessory called the Black Flame Ring. The system informs him about its basic information in detail. He reads about its special effect, which states that when he defeats a target while equipping it, he will steal a very small amount of their life force and convert it into his own. Furthermore, the higher the rank of the target defeated, the more life force he will steal. Now, he knows that the only artifact capable of stealing someone else's life force is this Black Flame Ring. However, he also understands that having this ring does not mean he will gain a longer life, because one's life cannot be extended infinitely. Considering that only a very small amount of life force can be stolen, he realizes it will not be easy to overcome his terminal illness. Still, he believes that, as long as he can struggle and progress, it is far better than living a hopeless life on the verge of death. He slips the ring onto his finger. Now he can definitely feel his life force and mana arising. He calls Rona to come in for a short while, knowing she is just outside his room. Within seconds, she enters, and wonders if he is able to see through things. He tells her that maybe he can. That thought scares her, and she asks him if he can see her naked body too. The young master becomes angry and shouts at her, demanding to know what on earth she is talking about, then flicks her forehead with his finger. She tells him that it hurts and wonders why his finger flick feels even more painful than usual. He tells her to stop talking nonsense and offers to arm wrestle again. She asks him if she wins again this time, will he really increase her salary? He agrees and asks her what if she loses. She also bets 20% of her salary. Both agree to the bet. This time, however, he defeats her within a second. She is surprised to see this outcome. After losing, she asks if he really thinks it is befitting of a reputable family son to reduce a servant's already pitiful salary by 20%. He smiles and agrees with her, saying that as the rumored good-for-nothing of the Reiner family, he has decided not to care about trivial things like honor. She bows before him and gives her apologies. The system informs him that the effects of his frequent sickness have been activated and he has obtained wrist fracture level 2. He becomes annoyed by these negative traits. He tells Rona that he will cancel her salary reduction, and in return she must go and bring him some ice and a wet towel. She is worried, thinking that her young master does not look too well. The swordsman thinks that for now, he will be satisfied with obtaining the ring. Now he just needs to get some rest. Time passes by and the two hidden pieces, Carl and the Black Flame ring, remain with him. It has been 6 months since he obtained them, and regretfully, there has not been a chance to use either. Then came the decision that Nox has been grounded. It is not as though he got into any trouble. He even cleared the missing child's forest. He cannot believe he is grounded when they should be rewarding him. It feels unbelievable to him. He turns to Rona and asks if she agrees with him. She simply responds that she is a maid belonging to the family, and that her salary would be reduced if she spoke poorly of the Patriarch. Nox swears upon his hand that her salary will be reduced if she does not act according to his preferences. Hearing his threat, she quickly tells him that the Patriarch is way too harsh on him. She also mentions that he could not even understand how she felt. He thinks about how he has been working hard to adapt to this life, living a pretty productive life while watching Carl's growth. However, he knows he cannot carry on like this because his life is being shortened even now. The system shows him the remaining life he has left, due to terminal illness, is 147 days. He thinks that this darn system seems more interested in his life than he is. He sarcastically thanks the system for explaining it so nicely. Finally, he decides that he cannot take it anymore and must go to his father and get permission to go out somehow. Rona knocks on his door and tells him that she has just warmed up more bathing water for him. Suddenly, Rodwell enters his room and informs him that the Patriarch has summoned him. His father sits in his office thinking about the night of slaughter and how he killed countless monsters and demons. He remembers the time when demons were swarming everywhere and the humans who were caught among them during the night of slaughter. He recalls that it was like a disaster. He hopes that someday one of his sons will probably learn the Supreme Black Sword. Yet he knows he cannot rely on probabilities. He needs talent that is certain because one of them will have to kill him. Rodwell enters his office and informs him that the young master will soon be here. Teo thinks to himself that Nox is late and tells Rodwell to send him in right away. He thinks about how the missing child's forest is a place that not even he knows how to clear, and to think Nox was able to clear that place, it would be appropriate to reward him. Teo tells his son that he had summoned him to discuss his reward, and that he can have just one request. He will fulfill just one request, no matter what it is. The young swordsman thinks about it and wonders what one thing he should ask for. It is the first time his father has ever asked him for a request for a reward. He also knows his father is usually authoritative and stern. He even doubts this is a trap. He feels as if someone just shot him in the head, or as if someone just slashed him from behind. He asks his father if he can ask for anything. His father repeats that he will grant him anything. And as the Patriarch of Reiner, he promises to grant him anything, swearing it upon the long-standing history of the Black Sword. At first he did not think his father was serious, but now he guesses he is right. His father explains to him that in the case his request is too ridiculous, his evaluation of him will change. Teo shows his trust in him, believing he will not do something that foolish. The offer was so sudden that he requests his father for some time to think it over. His father agrees and also permits him to leave the estate, but warns him not to get into trouble like he did previously. Nox obediently accepts his father's words. His father reminds him to always keep in mind that he is of the Reinhofer family. The next day, Talia and her maid are about to leave the palace. Talia tells Nox to meet at Eldon Academy the next time they meet. He says nothing and shows no emotions, but she insists on seeing him again. The head butler, Rodwell, tells Nox that he ought to answer when a lady asks him a question. The young master unwillingly replies to her that it will be if she becomes a full-fledged knight before then. Talia becomes emotionally charged and agrees with him, but he taunts her by saying, as in, not getting all scared even after seeing a super huge spider. That remark makes her sad and angry, and she punches him in the belly. She tells him that she will return after becoming a full-fledged knight, and that he must prepare his head for her. He wonders what she means by his head and doubts she intends to kill him. Emma thanks everyone for their hospitality, especially young Master Nox. The swordsman very rudely asks Emma what a maid of the Styliner family has to thank him for. She thanks him again for saving her young Miss Talia. He explains to her that it is not as if he saved her intentionally, and tells them to stop bothering him and leave already. Finally, Talia and Emma depart from the estate. Nox feels relieved that one person is gone now. He wonders why he feels like he is slowly getting used to this weird life. He cannot find the exact reason, but he is kind of enjoying it. The system informs him that the remaining life he has left, due to terminal illness, is 146 days. He decides that he has no time to rest now. A few days later, when the young master is getting ready in his room, Rona tells him that he needs to get a new maid and new servants. He gets surprised to hear that, and as he is thinking about why she said that, Rodwell enters the room and greets him with a good morning. He asks Rodwell the purpose of his visit. Rodwell informs Nox that Eldon Academy has sent a maid in training to assist him, and from today onwards, she will be serving him, so he has come to introduce her. She greets him and tells him that she is his exclusive maid from today onwards, and that her name is Lavilia. The young master quickly checks her details on the system. A few important things he finds out about her are that she has a perfect housework active skill, and that she is monitoring him based on orders from Teo. This information about her makes him feel a little conscious. Suddenly, the system informs him that the remaining life he has left, due to his terminal illness, is only 140 days. He observes that when one's time is limited, it feels like it goes so darn fast. The only good thing for him right now is his positive stats. He reflects that despite having such a severe penalty, he is actually growing pretty fast. Soon he will also be admitted into Eldon Academy. Rona tells him that after 2 months, he will finally start attending Eldane Academy, and wonders if he feels nervous. Nox questions whether she is that happy about the fact that he will be leaving this place for the academy. At this, Rona starts crying and tells him that she is already starting to miss him. He stops her from overreacting and remarks that he is not going to reduce her salary. After hearing that, she becomes happy. The young master thinks that he does not even have time to bully her within the next 2 months. If he does not increase his stats even a little, he definitely will not be able to survive inside the academy. He knows Eldane is the Empire's best academy where monstrously strong cadets from all over the country gather. And after surviving that place and entering the main story, he must play the role of the villain. Right now, everything is so tough for him. Rona tells him again that he needs to get a new maid and new servants. Lavilia assures him that she will do her very best to support him. The young master realizes that they will not let him leave this place comfortably. In truth, Teo von Reinhofer is one of the greatest villains and among the strongest beings in the world. When people wonder how he rose to his current position, many ask if it was solely from his swordsmanship. He is so skilled that few doubt this to be the case. However, the main reason Teo was able to take his place at the top of the Reinher family was because he remained suspicious of everything and everyone around him. Teo tells Lavilia that he has great expectations for her this time. He also mentions that he heard she was pushed back in the line of succession within the Lavilia family, and states that if she does well this time, the Reiner family will spare no efforts to support her in the succession. She assures him that she will assist young Master Nox with all her heart. Teo, however, tells her this is not what he wants. She then confirms to him that she will monitor Nox strictly and report every single thing to him. Teo reminds her to never forget who her master is. She comes out of his office and decides that from this point onwards, she must not waver any further. On the other side, the young master is lying on his bed thinking about Lavilia, a spy. He knows Teo probably wants to confirm whether the person within Nox is really Nox or not, since demon possession is something that happens quite frequently within the inner lunatic. Nox is a character whose body was stolen by the #1 demon, Bale, in the original storyline. He realizes it is all right as long as Teo does not find out who he really is. Still, he knows Lavilia is the problem. While she is not involved in the main storyline, it would be a waste to throw her away like this. Originally, she was supposed to become the next head of the Levia family. But her father and mother were killed by her uncle, and she lost her position as the next head. What happened next is obvious. In the end, she became a maid of the Reiner family and managed to escape from her family. She looks cheerful on the outside and is always smiling, but inside she is so jaded and rotten, a character on the verge of breaking. Her final decision was that before the first part of the main story started, she would commit suicide. Now he wonders what he should do to create a change in the storyline. He thinks that saving someone who ought to be dead might be the correct decision, despite knowing that doing so would mean placing a noose around his own neck. The next day, he informs both his maids that from today onwards, they will be hunting monsters within the forest in the territory, and both of them will accompany him and assist him. Lavilia stays confident and says nothing, but Rona is shocked to hear this and tells her master that she is going to take a leave of absence because she is sick. However, Lavilia agrees to obey her master. Rona warns her that she cannot just agree to everything so easily. The young master observes their reactions very closely, knowing it is normal for a maid to be scared of hunting monsters, because it is a ridiculous request after all. Lavilia's immediate answer makes him curious. He tells Rona that he knows she has used up all her leaves. Rona starts crying and asks if she is not allowed to take a sick leave today, questioning how he can do that. Nox asks if she forgets that he is good for nothing, and warns that if she does not follow what he says, he will reduce her salary. For starters, he will go easy on her, maybe about half her annual salary. Rona keeps crying and asks whether he wants her to bring along a bow or a sword. Lavilia asks him if she should inform Sir Rodwell that he will be leaving the estate before she starts preparing. He suddenly remembers that from now on his top priority will be increasing his lifespan, and since he is now free to go anywhere, he intends to act on that. Afterwards, all three of them mount their horses and ride into the forest. Mr. Tiao watches them leave from his office window. A few days later, in the missing child's forest that now looks like an ordinary forest after being cleared, Nox slays another gray wolf. The system notifies him that he has absorbed a very small amount of the wolf's life force. It is almost 2 hours of life that he gains. After killing countless wolves in the forest, he begins to wonder if he has exterminated all the wolves in this area. Since he obtained 2 hours of life from a single hunt, this could be considered quite a successful hunt. Countless dead wolves are lying scattered on the ground. Lavilia mentions that it has been 1 hour since he started hunting and questions if he is not tired offering him water. The young master realizes he forgot to activate Hour of the Genius, causing the hunt to take a long time. This means he has earned only 1 hour. He knows the calculation never balances out perfectly, but this is far too off. Besides, it is not as if he can go around killing monsters every single hour. His biggest concern is that there is a limited number of monsters. Since he has been hunting continuously for the last few days, he has already slain most of them. At this rate, he understands that his plan of living a great life is in danger of completely falling apart. He considers that the current lack of monsters in this vicinity is also a significant problem. Lavilia remarks that she cannot believe he thinks having no monsters is a problem, and if other people heard what he just said, they would think he had become strange. He informs his maids that it cannot be helped, and tells them to return to the mansion for today. Lavilia asks if she should prepare warm bathwater for him, and promises to set it at a comfortable temperature. The swordsman was expecting such consideration from a support genius. He orders her, saying he wants to bathe before dinner, so she must make sure the timing is correct. Rona reminds him not to forget about her, adding that she will clean his room. He simply tells her to do as she pleases. Before leaving the forest, Nox wants to ask Levia something. He asks who she serves. She is surprised to hear this. The young master thinks that no matter how beautiful and great a sword is, if he cannot use it, he will not hesitate to throw it away. She remains silent. The swordsman comments that her silence is her answer. She quickly responds that she has not said anything yet. Before she manages to say anything further, he tells her that he already knows what she wants to say, and assures her that she does not need to worry, as he does not intend to interrogate her any further. The young master also adds that he is actually thankful towards her, at least for not lying. He informs her that no matter who she serves, he will still think of her as one of his own. He also allows her to make use of him, if she ever needs to. He thinks that rather than having mutual trust, it is sufficient for them to simply make use of each other. After all, that is the kind of relationship he has with her.